What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation VR show, the show that showcases the best that PlayStation VR has to offer. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the glue, Big Kev Dog, Kevin Coelho. Hi. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. We're excited to talk about more PlayStation VR here in the second episode. Thought the first episode went real well. So this is the bar's high now.
Okay.
We can't screw it up now.
Okay.
Because we didn't screw it up last week. Blood and Truth was a dynamite hit. Now, real quick, did you save it? Are you sure you saved that video file?
Yeah, it's been backed up in 2 places. Right, Barrett?
Perfect. Yeah, it's running like a system over here, of course. Because if you didn't know, this is the PlayStation VR show. Right now, we are recording it live for people watching on patreon.com/kindafunnygames because they supported us in the month of January to bring it back. However, they supported to bring it back, and we put a deadline on it that didn't make sense. We were hitting those deadlines, but then it was like, oh, wait, the shows will be on top of each other. We'll be putting out like 7 pieces of content a day if we did all this.
We have trouble thinking very far ahead.
We don't do that well. We have trouble thinking. You could have just put a period on the sentence right there. You know? So we're running through them, doing now, socking away the content and then releasing it later on. We are excited about it. Today we're talking about Trover Saves the Universe, Kevin. But before that, remember that this PlayStation VR show is because your support on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Consider going there, supporting us, getting other shows, watching things early, getting party mode, getting shows ad free, having a good time. Remember the audio version of it as one big MP3 is up on patreon.com/kindafunnygames as well. Kevin, Trover Saves the Universe. The latest game from Squanch Games, of course, Justin Roiland, his friends over there making games. They made Accounting Plus, they made that Rick and Morty VR game, and now we have Trover Saves the Universe, a game you can play in VR or not in VR.
I recommend VR.
Of course, me too. Barry, you played it non-VR, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on the shock mic, or that mic there for a little bit of this, I think. So don't get too comfy, I'll lead back there.
Right.
Released May 31st, 2019. Another very recent game. Last time, Blood and Truth was the 28th. These games right on top of each other. Right now, as of June 27th, a Metacritic of 76. IGN's Tom Marks in his review says, Trover Saves the Universe is a short and sweet VR platformer wrapped in one of the most ridiculous video game stories you'll ever see. Justin Roiland and Squanch Games have done an excellent job of taking the ludicrous free-form humor of Rick and Morty and molding it around a straightforward but enjoyable 3D brawler, even if it's lacking the complex and well-crafted plots the best episodes of the show are known for. It loses something when played in 2D, but takes such great advantage of its unique VR mechanics that it's one anyone, parentheses, or at least anyone over 17, given its rating, with a headset should try. Kevin Coelho, why is Trover Saves the Universe a great PlayStation VR game?
Man, they got the magic from Rick and Morty, bottled it, made it into a video game, and threw it in your face.
Yeah. literally a lot of things are thrown in your face in this game.
The humor in this is fantastic.
100%.
And I feel like there's a lot of things that, like, if you don't follow, like, where you'll have a big moment where some giant person is talking to you and being like, all right, go and do this mission. And then if you just stay, they keep talking to you. And they keep going. And it's a solid, like, an extra, like, maybe like 5 minutes of this, like, all right, yeah, you should go now.
Yeah.
All right, you should go. And it's just so funny. And, like, it's constantly doing that and constantly grabbing my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the nail on the head, I think, when you talk about this game is the humor of it. The fact that you never know what's going to happen. I was reading interviews with Justin before this. He, talked about how he did like twice the amount of it needed to be, right? Because he wanted those things. Just like in one of my, Accounting Plus, one of my favorite PlayStation VR games before this. To see the evolution of that humor, to see the continuation of certain mechanics. But then also, I think the way that they give you so much to tinker with and screw around with that sometimes I got there naturally, which didn't happen for me in Accounting Plus, where Accounting Plus was like, oh, I'm moving around doing stuff, and then I'd like read like, oh no, if you just sit there, they'll say this, that, and the other, and I will go back and try it. Whereas like specifically in your multi-dimension machine or whatever, it was, the big boss talking to Trover, talking to us, and I turned around and I was playing the paper basketball game, and I was going and going, and they kept talking and talking, and finally Trover's like, dude, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, we did this, and I was like, oh shit, the button's been lit up for a while. I didn't even know, right? Yeah. Because I was enjoying listening to them. I was enjoying the little mechanic of trying to get the baskets.
I like that when it hits that line of like, okay, the joke's over. A lot of the people you're talking to will just make annoying noises.
Yeah. I mean, like for me personally, there's a lot of funny favorite moments in it. I've always been a big fan of it, both in the Accounting Plus one when I watch a Rick and Morty, or like even SNL classic, right? Where is my own sense of humor in review, cracking yourself up. And so when they're doing a bit during this game and they start cracking themselves up and you can hear them wheeze laughing, but still delivering the lines and just powering through, like that is so enjoyable.
There were a couple of moments where like I'm hanging around, I'm looking for the little, what are they called?
Power babies.
The power babies. That's right. And like the two people that are talking in the background start just being like, look, he's just standing there. Can you believe he's still here? What an idiot. And then they start laughing to themselves, and you can tell that, like, or at least it feels very much like these are just the people in the VO booth being like having a good time.
For sure. Like, when it was, the one where you got the guys on the castle wall. And you pass them and you come back, look, this fucking idiot back here. This guy, this dickless puss. And they just start, what was I saying? You just let them sit there and go. Like,
they kept talking about their, like, affair that they had in the trees.
Yeah, totally, right? And, like, there's that stuff is so good. It is so much fun to listen to people having fun and making stuff that they're enjoying together. I thought some of the more fleshed out points were really good too, though. Like, right, of when you get to the one world and it's like, cool, I'll give you the rock you need or whatever. And of course, I assume you've played these games. If you haven't, we full on spoil everything. But this game, there's really nothing to spoil.
And I also haven't finished it.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't know how far I am. I think I'm 2/3. Like, okay. I'm about to go to the...
What world are you on? What was the last world you remember? Have you done Flesh World?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm on Flesh World.
Have you done Mixed World?
No, maybe I finished Flesh World. I might be on Flesh World right now.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting there then. Don't worry about
it. But this is a game, like, I definitely could have beaten it by now.
Oh, sure.
But I am enjoying every moment of it.
Yeah.
And taking my sweet time going through everything, trying to find all the babies.
Power babies,
that's it.
100%. Like, that's what I like about this game, I think, is that this is very much about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Last night when I did beat it, right, and it was like, okay, that's the end of the game. And like, he's like, cool, if you want, you can go back and replay levels. Yeah, no, nothing's different. And like, they joke around even about that. Like, it's such a fourth wall breaking game. Fourth wall breaking game.
And one thing that's interesting is that, like, you can make decisions, like, some of them are, like, obvious, where it's like, whenever there's a vendor, you're gonna end up killing its pet.
Yeah, the best. And that's one of the things I was joking at, in terms of, like, there's so much good ad-libbing, laughing, just talking humor, but then some of the things you do in the game and the way things react cracked me up every time. And so when it's like, will you go kill these things? Sure. And I jump over and I kill them, like, what are you doing? Yeah, those are my pets. And Trevor's like, what? I'm sorry, man. I didn't know they all look the same.
But then sometimes you have in the second world, I think it was the second world, you help that lady move her stuff.
Yeah, the boxes.
And if you don't help her, you don't get a power baby at the end. But if you do help her and then kill her because she's talking too long, you don't get a power baby. So now I'm missing one power baby that I can't get. And it's upsetting.
Well, you'll replay the level. You'll go back and get it. Don't worry about it.
I wanted it on my first run.
But like, I was like, I mean, this reminded me so much of Accounting Plus in the way that these are games that make me laugh out loud. And games have always, I thought, struggled with comedy. That's a hard thing to pull off in an interactive thing. So putting you into a world, immersing you to it, and limit the limitations that come with VR, I think, works so well towards that. And so, especially when you got to the one world and the guy with the Band-Aid over his dick or whatever, and like Trevor's yelling at him, like, I'm gonna tear that off and find out what's in it. But then it's like, you got to kill Kevin, I think, or maybe, or Michael. You got to kill Michael, right? And you get up to Michael's house, and it's like, oh, you got a choice. Who do you want to kill? And I'm like, I'm going to kill Michael. He's got all these pregnant women strapped down there, and he wants to eat the fetuses or whatever.
It's like, cool, you're just going to kill all these pregnant women, huh?
Trevor's like, all right, cool, we're going to kill all these pregnant women. And I guess
did you kill Michael?
Yeah, I pushed that house over. Yeah, totally. And then Band-Aid Dick shows back up, and he's just like, awesome. All right, now that's not. I got to go find my 12 pregnant wives.
Also, at the end, when it was like, well, yeah, all these stones are just laying around. I don't understand
why did we do any of this? Were they here the whole time?
Funny.
Yeah, exactly. They subvert that
Trevor
expectation.
Being like, yeah, they're right there.
Yeah,
they're literally right there.
Yeah. No, that was so good, and like the fact that there's those jokes in between, like you don't know what's coming, and like there's Trover. From trailers and like the reveal and even like starting the game, like, is this guy just a dick the whole time? Like the way you actually build a partnership with him is really funny. The way like when you run into his ex-roommate running the prison, and he starts telling me, and at the end he's like, "Listen, partner, I did say all that stuff. I do hate what is it, Cheropians or whatever. I do hate Cheropians, and I did bring home a whatever. I did bring home a rough instead of a duff one time or whatever. And like it was just like." The most ridiculous bullshit that was just funny around it. And then I love the one where you're very smart. You're of course the Kevin the GoPro. When I got up there and the puzzle with all the touch blocks escalates and it gets to the crazy one, and I'm just like hitting everything, and Trevor's like, "Oh man, they said it wouldn't be a game like this. Isn't all right? I'll blow it up. I'm just getting rid of it." I just struggled with it too long. He just destroys it and gets rid of it.
That's interesting because Well, no, yeah, he tells you to come back down, right?
Yeah.
So
there's another one later on too.
Yeah, and I got that one. There was a demo, right?
You might have played it at E3 or something. I remember.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but it was that part.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember I got the puzzle that time, and I couldn't get it when I did it this time.
Yeah.
And when I went back down, it didn't let me go back up, and yeah, he blows the door out.
Yeah.
And it's such a bummer because, like, yeah, puzzles are so much fun.
So everything we're saying right now, before I started this game, I was like, I bet I'm going to say all that about it, of how funny it is, how moment to moment it is, the ad-libbing, yada, yada, coming off of Accounting Plus. What I didn't expect was to enjoy the gameplay as much as I did. And because Accounting Plus is a fun, comical thing, but it is very much just like you're there and things are happening around you. And yeah, you spray paint or you shoot the other people or you knock things off your desk. But it didn't feel like a game as much as a longer experience, which I enjoyed. Trover Saves the Universe is not on the same caliber, but it's a watered down Astrobot, and not in a bad way. Astrobot, of course, like an amazing game.
I had the same thought yesterday, where it was like, this is a watered down Astrobot. Well, like, I feel like the movements in Astrobot are a little bit better. Just
more precise.
Whenever I was trying to get somewhere quickly, it was always a little bit of a hassle.
Yeah, sure. Where you're gonna land, what's gonna happen, stuff like that. But all that said, I enjoyed playing it. Playing Trover Saves the Universe, and I mean playing it, right? Of like, if you haven't played, of course, and I hope we're putting in B-roll. I made more stuff of it yesterday. You're a Chairopian, which means you're from a race of people that just sits in a chair. A great way to make this happen. Because I turned it on again. I've demoed or saw demos for it, months, if not years ago, or 8 years ago, and so I had the two move wands in my hand. And then I started, I'm like, oh, right, the controller thing.
Could you do move wands?
No.
Okay, all right,
it forced me to use the DualShock, and I did, and I was like, oh, man. And like, I sat back on the couch, and I took off the headset, and I put Porty next to me, because I was totally prepared for, I'm going to be moving around, flailing around. I was in basketball shorts. I'm going to get hot. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't that at all. It is an Astrobot kind of thing. And so to sit there and have that control and have them explain it with the humor and the goofy-ass story they've created of your dogs getting kidnapped and put into the eyes of this world destroyer. Okay. But then to get actually going and control Trover and be like, holy shit, like, this is actually fun. Like, it's not challenging, I don't think. Like, I think that's actually one of the reasons I think it's not a great video game. And this is how we, break it up of what makes it a great PlayStation VR game, what makes it not a great video game. I enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed I was enjoying the counterbalance of like, okay, here comes a shielded guy, but then at the end you're really juggling a whole bunch of different types of enemies. Eventually, you really get into puzzle solving of like, cool, I need to catch this ball and electrify it and move it around while Trover's fighting. So I'm doing that with my head and button combinations, and I'm also fighting down here.
Which is also a really cool concept of being like forcing you to do two things, like moving the cauldron.
Yeah.
And like getting it close, but you're also trying to dodge and fight.
Yep.
Really cool.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that was the thing too, of like in the beginning when it was, oh man, okay, hey partner, remember we gotta kill these guys in front of the cauldron to get there. Like, okay, cool. And I'm trying to lure them to the cauldron before I was like, oh shit, and like look at it, grab it and move it. And I was like, that's really cool. And same thing with
some of the lines like, hey man, it'd be really cool if there was like a mechanic that we just learned, be really useful right now. And it was like, oh, that's right, we can move stuff.
Yeah. And when you eventually get the chair upgrade, right, of being able to use the 3 different like planes of existence, right? So you're on Trover's level, you're mid level, and you're way high. Like doing that and then being like, oh man, there's a power baby over there, or this, blah, blah. Like, again, Accounting Plus was fun and I enjoyed it, and I still think it's a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
But this was so much more of a game than I was expecting, especially to end the level and be like, oh man, I missed 8 power babies, and I thought I did a pretty good job of looking for power babies. I need to figure that out. Or seeing the thing of like, oh, that's one of the things I need to smash to get a power baby. I don't have time to get to it right now, which is different than...
Or I don't have the ability to get there right now. Something's going to be added later.
Sure.
You get the double jump or the roll.
Totally, right? And I thought that was all really, really well done, and it was unexpected for me. And I think it's actually really cool to see Squanch Games making that progression, right? From going from, all right, cool, they know passive TV, or Justin Roiland knows passive TV, and as a creator, to see him make a VR game that was like, okay, it's a little bit more than just a TV show, now to something that's like, okay, this is like a game that I do think stands on its own of, hey, this is a fun game to play.
Yeah.
But Kevin Coelho, what do you think makes it not a great video game? Or do you think it's a great video game all around?
I did have some problems with like, it's super minor, but like the controller was never, when I looked down, was never aimed the right way.
Oh, really?
It was just always sideways, and it was just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I kept trying to like correct it.
Yeah.
And then also, the mechanics on moving, whenever I had completed the level and it was going back to find like any power babies that I had missed.
Power babies.
It was always like, like once I got the roll, it was a little bit better, but it was like roll, or like run, hit it, hit it, and it's just like I wish there was something a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
But I understand the limitations that we have.
Barrett, this is where I'd really like to come in because I know you didn't love Trover Saves the Universe from what we talked about, but you also didn't play it in VR, right?
No, I did not. So I don't own a VR unit, but I was. Hold on, I'm gonna fix the camera here. But I did want to play the game because I am a big fan of Rick and Morty, so I was just like in the mood for that humor.
Yeah.
And so I did go through it. I think all in one sitting. And yeah, like the game itself, like I don't think it's a great game.
Like cutting himself in half.
Okay, just let him do it.
Like yeah, it's like a very basic kind of beat 'em up platformer, and
Yeah.
like that stuff. Like I didn't really like have a huge problem with it. It was just like yeah, this is a basic ass game, an excuse to like have all these jokes and whatnot. The thing that I was a little more bummed out about was the humor itself didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. Like I loved the bits in the first world, like yeah, like the weird Band-Aid dick guy and like how it all kind of like comes back in the end and killing the shop owner's pet and all that stuff. But then it felt I don't know, after the first world, like the jokes kind of felt flat to me. Like there were the two guys like on the castle balcony or whatever, and I felt like that was the last gag that I like chuckled at, and then the rest of the game I don't know, there was something about it, and this might just be something like because you don't have the full Rick and Morty writing team on the game, it's less it's more of the ad-libbing from Rick and Morty and way less of having actual things to say and plot and stuff.
Sure.
And I realize it's the combination of those two things is why I love Rick and Morty. And when you take one of them out, I was realizing like, oh, I don't vibe with just this aspect as much as I thought I would. So yeah, like at it's a fine game. Like I didn't hate it or anything.
How did it? I was reading reviews today to get boned up for this, right? And everybody was reviewing it from the VR perspective, and then doing, I did an hour of it, and I don't know if I would recommend it that way. Yeah. They were making it sound like, obviously, you lose a lot by not being in VR in terms of setting, but even in controls, right? Of like, I didn't even think about it where they were like, in VR, obviously, if I'm doing two different things, I can just glance down at Trover and make sure he's in the right spot and go back up here, where I guess they were saying that seemed to be more of a disconnect looking at a TV of trying to navigate it down, eyes off that, get back up.
I never felt that way because most of the time, like going throughout the world, I felt like my focus was on Trover.
Yeah.
And I never felt, and it obviously it's because I'm not in VR. Like I didn't feel the need to focus anywhere else. Every once in a while, just like stay around and like watch the two guys on the balcony just talk to each other for a while. But yeah, the game wasn't designed for that to happen a lot, I guess, in just like a regular play setting where like I feel the need to look around where Trover isn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that disconnect, but I also haven't played the game at all in VR. So
gotcha. Yeah, because playing it in VR, I was like, man, I like this experience. I like being able to look around. I did appreciate when they ask you questions and it's a head nod.
And then the nod, it's
shake your head
crazy
or head nod,
how like it really makes you feel very in the moment.
Oh, totally, right?
Because it's like I could say no right now. And then also, like, it helps you create the character that you're playing, you know?
Yeah, if you're, like, when I was feeling like I'm starting to bond with Trover, right?
Yeah.
And he's bonding with me. Like, obviously, I had his back when he'd lie about stuff, right? Yeah. When hey, go kill this village full of creatures. Okay, and we come back and he describes a completely different village.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that how it happened? Yep, that's exactly what we killed the right people on that one.
Did you kill all the people?
Yeah.
I guess there was probably no other option.
No, you cannot kill anybody and come back. It said, and the trophies are attached to it or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, I murdered everyone
Of course,
instantly.
yeah. And again, Trover then, Trover not being this shitbag, right? Of just being like, oh my God, we're murderers. Like, are we the bad guys? He's screaming at one point.
I'm glad that I'm not the one doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
exactly. Right. Yeah, I thought that was all good. Similar to what you were saying, Barrett. I mean, especially for like if the humor is going to grab you or not, right? The one like what makes it not a great game. I was after Accounting Plus and not knowing much about this coming in. I think giving you the same, spaceship, I'm going to call it, Trover, boss, all that, did make it all feel very one note. Whereas what I loved about Accounting Plus, right, is that we kept jumping into different virtual reality things, so we kept getting deeper and deeper into different worlds and different characters, and it was always like
dumb fucking game.
So dumb, but so much fun. We're always on to another thing. You don't know exactly what's around the next bend, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas with Trover, now granted, this is like you didn't finish it. You're playing, enjoying yourself as you should. I enjoyed myself as well, but it was a little bit of like, ooh, there's a power baby. You know what? I need to beat this tonight. I'm gonna keep going, and so then it does just get to like, All right, is this the last world? Okay, there's gonna be one more world, and I already know before I open the door, right, that it's gonna be that I'm gonna go out there, and there's gonna be the little receptacle thing to run Trover to that I warp to, and we warp around, and then I'm gonna eventually have to move some blocks around and do this thing. And it was just like, I missed the Accounting Plus. Like, I'm here, and what is this world going to be? And granted, they do pepper in new powers, new abilities, new things to do, and I do recommend this game wholeheartedly for people who want a fun, goofy experience. But it was a little bit like, okay, this is one note. I know where we're going from it.
Yeah, I don't disagree that it's very one-notey, but I just think that, like, there's enough fun out there that where it's like, when I started playing, I was like, oh, I'm going to try to go through it. And as soon as, like, you start getting those power baby, he's just like, oh yeah, great, that's another power.
Oh, I'm tingling.
He's like, I'm so invested in this.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I want to keep getting this.
For sure, it's definitely the thing of I want to go back and platinum this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I do want to go back at the power babies. I do want to see the other versions of things that the joke. What's the joke if I don't do X, Y, or Z? Like, I love the game. I think it's a great game. I want to play more of it and go back to it. But it was just a little bit of like, and again, I think it's the way I was playing it with pressure of we got the show tomorrow. Jen's coming home tonight. Like, there's other things I need to do. Like, I think that might have not soured it, but driven home a little bit more of like, cool. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I won't have time to play it. Well, I might. Like, I shouldn't play it tonight, but I think I might turn it on and play it
tonight?
because I've got to do screencast and I've got a flight tomorrow and I got to prep all this stuff.
Sure. Screw it,
I'm
man.
probably gonna
Let
play
Tim
it.
do some stuff. You know what I mean?
Play it.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited. I want it to, I want to know the conclusion, and like I'm really bummed that I didn't get that one power baby.
Yeah.
Because like other than that, I have all of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Yeah, I want to know the way he keeps building up.
Yeah,
to
like
what this giant.
And I know it's going to be a disappointment.
It's gonna not be cool at all, of course, right?
Yeah. But it's going to be fun, you know.
The one thing I was thinking about when I was sitting here reflecting, getting ready for the show is, I wonder how much. You okay there? Drinking problem?
Yeah, a little ice got stuck there.
Okay. I wonder how much of it's going to stick with me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because even looking back at Accounting Plus, right? I always tell the one thing of like, when you pick up the brick and they're like, oh no, that's too far. Don't throw that brick through the window. Do not throw that brick through the blah. And like, that's the funny moment of Accounting Plus that really stands out to me. And
then they all get murdered.
Yeah. But so it's that thing of, I look back at Accounting Plus and I'm like, that was a really funny game.
Yeah.
But then it's hard for me to give you the specifics of what was funny. Now, granted, that's a comedy in general in a lot of ways.
I feel like that the two guards standing on the top of that castle, like that conversation I loved it. Every part of it, like them, talking shit about us, and then them also just randomly keep going back to like, and then we went to the woods, and he was like, dude, I thought we'd agreed not to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then we get the conclusion of like, yeah, they fucked in the woods, and then they die.
And well, even towards the end here, when he starts to, do you know what the guy with the dog eyes? What is it? Glorkin.
Glorkin.
Glorkon. Do you know what Glorkon's building? What his goal is here?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, I don't.
No, you can tell you. It's fine.
He's trying to build his true love or whatever, right? Or whatever. And so yeah, it's the same thing of like just random ass dialogue of them talking about her, how she's gonna have 16 buttholes and all these dicks that'll be erect all the time. It's just like all this detail and shit, and then you'll start doing things like, well, now it's only gonna be 12 buttholes, but I'll still love her regardless. And It's like. Such a weird game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think that like, it's not a game that I don't know actually. I think I'd recommend this to someone like on like a fun experience if you like Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think it's gonna stay with me. I think there's gonna be moments where we randomly say things.
I feel like right. There's those senses of humor and moments to it that I think who vibes with you comedic, right? And I always go back to when I think of Justin Roiland, right? Like the way I got introduced to Justin Roiland was he kept coming to IGN's Comic-Con stage when I'd be hosting and doing the balcony segments. And every year he'd come and at the end of it go, where's Craig Harris? I need to see Craig Harris. Because he's a real IGN fan and had read every one of Craig's DS reviews. And Craig had been gone for years and years and years. And I always thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And I was like, that guy's funny. And people were like, oh man, you should watch Rick and Morty. You'd love Rick and Morty. And I was like, it doesn't look like my kind of show. And it wasn't until like his third year or whatever, multiple years, where somebody was finally like, and he also made House of Cosby's. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, he made House, and I was like, I fucking adored House of Cosby's. Yeah. A Rudy! And so like, I stopped him that year and told him how great he was and how much fun. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, would I recommend this game to everybody? No, but by the fact that you're watching Kind of Funny and think Greg Miller and Kevin Coelho are funny, you probably have the same sense of humor in that vein that you dig Justin Roiland's humor. You dig this kind of game, even if it is just a headset on, what the fuck am I doing experience. I wouldn't recommend it in VR based on just my own experience in VR. Like when I wasn't playing it, I was like, when I was playing it, I was like, I can't imagine this is just a flat TV game. Yeah. I'm getting too much out of the world, exploring it and being part of it that way. You understand what I'm saying?
Did the doorbell just go off?
I believe so.
Okay. Your pizza's here.
Yeah, the food's here.
Okay.
Just making sure.
I hear people moving. People on it. Don't worry.
All right. I'm just.
I went, of course, and said, hey, this is the PlayStation VR show, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. What do you got for me for reviews? Brian Sweeney wrote in with his Trover Saves the Universe comments and says this. Something I really appreciated about Trover was that I didn't feel like a neglectful partner while in VR. The game is so funny and entertaining that my girlfriend was watching while I played and laughing along the whole time. That is another feather in the game's cap, where I find myself... I hate playing VR games when Jen's home or awake. Like when she goes to bed, I usually stay up and play games anyway. That's a better time for me.
Yeah.
But like when we were doing Blood and Truth, not even for the show, but for when I wanted to play it and just enjoy it, it was that thing of like, I'm sorry. She's like, I really don't mind. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But you still feel like an idiot because I'm flailing around. I hear her giggling or whatever. And with this one, at one point I did pop off and check a text message. And then I looked at the TV and it looked so much better, like a normal game, where I was like, if she was here, this would actually play fine, where she'd be able to watch this and enjoy it. So it's nice to hear Brian echo that.
For like, Paula likes Rick and Morty, but she was just like, I had a busy day. I don't need this nonsense. I'm gonna watch something else, and it's like PSVR is so great that you can just change the channel. And on the TV, she was watching something else, and I was sitting there, yeah, exactly.
Totally. The amount of times I found myself, I think I laughed more in Accounting Plus. I remember being like crying in laughter with Accounting Plus, and to the point where Tim afterwards was like, I thought you were fucking with me. Like I thought you were doing it just to get me to ask what was going on. But I still, again, love Trover Saves the Universe, but I would still give Accounting Plus, I think, the nod as the game I would recommend over it.
Really?
Yeah. But it's hard to say because I think
to me is too small of an experience.
And that's what I was about to say. Trover is actually a game.
This is a game, yeah.
Yeah, it is actually a game or whatever.
But then my counter argument, again, because I'm a little more down on the game, is that, it's a full game, but then the experience in the loop, I don't feel like is satisfying. So, like, I haven't played Accounting Plus, but, like, the way you describe it seems like a more, like, something that, like, I feel like should be recommended more, just because after 3 hours of doing the same thing over and over and over again.
And that's the thing, right? Accounting Plus is like, if you don't like this, it's going to end soon enough and you can move on to the next thing. Whereas with Trover, if you don't, you're like, it is just a button mashing, beat 'em up kind of thing.
But if you like it, it's so good. I was just thinking right now where like getting the platform mechanics down sometimes was a little difficult just because like the angles you were looking at and stuff. And like the game just being like, oh man, it seems like you're bad at platform mechanics. That seems like that's maybe not going to be useful right now. And it's so funny the way it makes fun of you.
And there was one, I forget, where I smashed the lock for the first time, I think, or whatever, and you went through, and Trevor was like, oh my God, you're so good at problem solving. Did your parents like force you to be good at problem solving so that you did it so much that you were forced into it that you hated it?
Yeah.
And so you didn't do it? And it's like, this is exactly the kind of comedy I want out of something like this. Yeah. Well, Kevin, that's enough about Trover Saves the Universe. We like to put extra things in here. What do you say we check in with Eka about Falcon Age? As I live and breathe, Eka from Outer Loop Games. Yay!
Thank you.
Welcome to the PlayStation VR show, season 2.
Yes.
And I want you to know more than this. I told you earlier.
Okay.
This is the first thing in our real timeline that we've ever filmed for the PlayStation VR show. Right. So I'm sure my hair will be shorter, hopefully, because I need a haircut real bad.
Okay.
I don't know what the show will look like, so this is what it looks like now. You're here, of course, because of Falcon Age.
Yes.
Falcon Age out now on PlayStation and PlayStation VR.
Right.
So this is a game you have a PlayStation VR mode for.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's fully playable in both.
Sure.
And halfway, if you want to switch, turn the headset on or off, you can do that too.
Do it however you want to. Yeah. Okay. But what's interesting about you, on top of the fact you have a new game, it's PlayStation VR, and that's great, is that you've already made 2 other PlayStation VR games, right? Dino Frontier, which people really, really, really wanted me to do for PlayStation VR show season 1, and I didn't. Because I suck.
How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry.
How dare you.
And then you told me when we were at I forget where we were talking about PlayStation VR though and trophies. And when I was taking the demo for Falcon Age, and you're like, oh, Down Frontier had a pretty easy platinum.
Easy platinum. That's what I should have told you in the first place.
Yeah, you should have put it in the headline. Dino Frontier, easy platinum, and everybody would have bought it.
Platinum, Down Frontier.
And then what was the other one you did?
Wayward Sky was a launch title for PlayStation VR.
So, I guess let's start with you in general.
Okay.
How long have you been making games? Like, and how did you get into being like one of the prolific PlayStation VR developers?
I started making games 23 years ago.
No. When you were 9?
I was a young boy of 19 at Bethesda.
Oh, I've heard of them. I've heard of them. Yeah. Okay.
Worked on a little bit of Morrowind. Was
Okay.
the last thing I worked on there.
Okay. Great.
Right place, right time. Growing up in Maryland.
Yeah, that makes sense.
they're
Sure.
right
Yeah.
there.
You're like, no one will ever make games here, and then Bethesda's like, we're gonna make a lot of games here.
Yeah. So I started there and then moved around a little bit. Played
Had you gone to college for game making? Or
I went to art school in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
For a little bit, but mostly self-taught. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so, where'd you go after Bethesda?
Bethesda for a while, 5 years or so, and then a place called Shiny Entertainment.
Okay.
Dave Perry, who went to Gaikai and and the Sony stuff,
PlayStation
stuff. So he was there, and then we worked on 2 Matrix games, the console versions of those. They made a game called Earthworm Jim before.
I've heard of Earthworm Jim. Yeah, I think we all have. Yeah.
They moved to Seattle.
Yeah.
Went to a place called Gas Powered Games.
Okay.
They made a PC game called Supreme Commander.
Okay.
It's like a giant RTS.
Oh, yeah.
And then we started Uber Entertainment years ago, 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
And we did a game called Monday Night Combat and Client Train Annihilation, and that's where I started our first VR game.
So, how does that conversation start that you guys want to make a VR game, let alone PlayStation VR?
So 2014, we had friends that everyone was going to Oculus at the time.
Sure.
Like,
yeah,
they
of
were
course.
just starting out.
They were throwing money around.
Yeah, they were throwing money around, and all my friends were like, we're going to Oculus. So they reached out with where they had their first Gear VR headset before they announced it at one of the E3s. I can't remember. It was 2014, I think. And they're like, hey, you should pitch us something. And that's where Wayward Sky came out of that.
Okay.
So I got it built on Gear VR on the mobile version of it, and then we were pitching around. And right before that, I had gone over to Valve because Valve was right near our studio in Seattle.
Sure.
And they showed us like this thing that was going to be the Vive.
Yeah.
And it was like early, and it blew my mind.
Really?
I was like, shit, I want to make something in VR.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. So.
Okay. So where did you fall in the structure of all this when VR started and Oculus is going and PlayStation VR gets announced?
Right.
There are so many articles and think pieces and people who are like, this is the next big thing. This is going to change gaming.
Yeah.
Did you think it was going to blow up, or were you going in just like, I think it's going to be cool and I want to make games for it?
I thought it was more of an interesting design place for me.
Okay.
So, I mean, at that point, I'd been in the industry for a long time. You see stuff.
You've seen it. Yeah, you've seen this before. You've seen the next big thing happen. Oh, 3D.
Yeah,
Can't wait
there's
for
been
this.
a bunch of big things we worked on that never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like, oh, this is cool. It's really interesting design-wise, like game design-wise, that hadn't been explored yet. So that was my draw to it. So.
Okay. So was it, I mean, you're already self-taught. You've already been making games a long time.
Yeah.
How is it different to approach you want to make a VR title versus you want to just make a game?
Yeah, we spent the first year just learning and no one really knew what the rules were yet.
Yeah.
Because nothing had come out. So we were just trying to figure that out. And I get motion sick.
Oh, wow.
And I still get motion sick.
Okay.
So.
Interesting career move.
Yeah. Right. I don't get motion sick on roller coasters.
Okay.
Just in VR. So.
Interesting.
So the first game, Wayward, it's a third-person action adventure game, and it's sort of designed around the idea that we don't move the camera.
Sure.
We cut the cameras back and forth between areas.
Okay.
And you're pointing a character through the space. So it's like a top-down third-person kind of game.
Yeah.
And then we switch to first-person in spots. So we don't actually. The camera motion is what gets me sick.
Okay, so as long as it's static, you're fine.
Right.
Gotcha.
Static and you have full camera control is fine. So that's sort of the design of that came out of that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on, jump way ahead.
Yeah.
Falcon Age.
Yeah.
You're moving around in that.
Yes.
That's not a fixed camera. You can do whatever you want. You have full locomotion. You have teleportation. You can do everything. So can you play your own game?
Yes. Teleportation's fine.
Okay. Oh, teleportation's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Teleshifting is fine. Like like a Raw Fury type game where you click a location, draws a line, and shifts you through.
Yeah.
That works great.
Okay.
I can play this for hours.
But moving on your own. Like, which you can do in Falcon Age, you can't play your game that way.
Right. So you can turn off the teleportation and turn on FPS movement.
Yeah.
And that I have a hard time with.
Okay.
But other guys on my team, they test that too.
So when you're making the first VR game,
Wayward,
you're going through, you're setting your expectations, you just want to make something cool in the space. Are the people at the company, are other people saying that this is going to be the big thing? Like VR is going to be huge, like blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I didn't know either, so it's like, it could be.
Sure. Oh, yeah, that was like
Right?
everybody's take on it, right? Of like, oh, yeah, it's cool, but is it going to take off that way?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so we were doing the Gear VR thing, and then Sony reached out to us. It's like, hey, we're going to announce this thing at E3. You should make stuff for us. So,
Yeah.
And then I hadn't tried the new PSVR.
Yeah.
And it was that GDC. I tried it. I was like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Because it was like the heist demo.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, the London Heist. Yeah,
London
yeah.
heist demo. I was blown away. I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Move controls could work, and the whole thing could work. So.
Sure.
And it was comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I love the
Yeah.
PlayStation VR headset. You know what I mean? Like, I think that for me personally, yeah, it had the best form factor. You know what I mean? In terms of launch stuff, in terms of what out of the box, that first generation of VR, I thought it was impeccable. Yeah, I thought it was really great.
Yeah, so we switched the Wayward to, just end up rebuilding it on PlayStation and got ready for the E3 announcement. So
Cool. When do people there start realizing that VR isn't the next big thing? Or that it at least isn't blowing up the way people want it to?
At the company?
Yeah.
So we did Wayward. It did okay. It's like, I think 2015. When did it launch? 2016?
PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
PlayStation VR launches in we were already at the studio, so it must have been
2016.
2016,
right?
early part of 2016.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, early part of our stint at the studio, which would be post-September, so that would be like, what, October, November 2016?
Right.
Kevin, can you give me a Google on that?
So I think, and then we were also, while we were finishing that up, we started putting together Dino Frontier.
Yeah.
And we went back to Sony, and it's like, hey, we like working with you. We like the platform.
Why do you like working with Sony?
Good people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the hardware's great. Support's awesome. It's mostly the people. Like, the longer I've been doing this, the it's all about the people.
Nailed it.
So.
October 26th. I nailed that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 2016. I think I said that.
Yeah, and I really want to do something with the Move controller. So
Okay.
For Dino, it's like your move a thumb around on mobile thing. It's like that, but with Move controller. So you kind of grab the world and shift it around, and you rotate it, and then zoom in.
Because
and
that
out.
was like, it's not RTS, right? But it's strategy.
Yeah, it's like a city builder.
Okay.
You're building a western town.
Yeah.
Instead of horses, there are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So you can tame dinosaurs, fight bandits.
How long does it take you to build this?
Dino
Frontier. Yeah.
It's like a year and a half. Each game's about a year and a half. Yeah.
How do you explain that to people? Like, I think the thing with PlayStation VR launching and the way Shuhei and a bunch of other people pitched it to us was like, this is Gen 1.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting a lot of experiences, not necessarily games in the way, Are you approaching it trying to make games? Are you trying to make experiences? Are you trying to make stuff that is short and you're just playing in a couple hours? Like,
for me, like Wayward's like a 4-hour game. Like it's point and click adventure. There's not a lot of combat or anything, but I like games and mechanics and those kind of things. So I felt like, I mean, there's a lot of experiences, and I've loved those too. But like personally, I like games.
Yeah.
So, and Dino was certainly more of a game. Like it's like there's 6 hours of building towns and picking up little settlers and assigning jobs and things like that. So I was like balancing all that was interesting. And
how are you getting it done so fast though? A year and a half is quick in terms of, hey, let's make a game.
Yeah.
You talk to other indies and other developers, period. It's taking a lot longer.
So the small team that worked on those, we've been working together for like 15 years.
Okay.
Right. So, you work with the same guys for a long time. Like,
you have that shorthand.
Yeah.
I say, Kev, big top. They know what I want.
You don't have to explain things, right? It's like you don't have to, you don't have to vocalize it.
No, he totally understands. Yeah, just a nod and a wink, and Kevin knows what to do, and he goes, does it. Yeah. Barrett, brand new over there. He doesn't know what a big top is. I don't. Nobody knows what a big top is over there. Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, so that's how easy it is. You think to quick?
Yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, every game is a different challenge.
Beast, yeah.
Right. Like,
and that's the thing is that you said it like PlayStation VR or VR in general. Sorry. Starting off, you guys don't know the rules yet.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's what's so. Is it liberating or terrifying the way that you guys? I mean, video games. Obviously, there's always going to be. We're making something from scratch. Who knows what's going to fall through the world?
Yeah.
But to jump into VR and not understand, like, well, crap, people are getting sick with locomotion, right? So how do we switch that up? How do we do that?
So I mean, there was this. So Oculus did a Oculus Connect. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like
no, I haven't.
So I think it's been 5 years. But they were the first to start this sort of Oculus Connect. It was out of a hotel in Hollywood.
Okay.
All the VR developers that were in the space got together, and they're like doing demos in the hallways. It felt like a very, very small, like an early
awesome.
GDC.
Yeah.
And I got to meet like the Tilt Brush guys. Like all the guys are making stuff in the space.
Okay.
So
is it that idea of learning from each other?
Learning
like,
from each other.
Found?
Yeah. What have you found? How's this work? And what are you prototyping with? And, with social media, you also see what people are posting stuff.
Of course, yeah. Everyone's sharing
yeah.
everything now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a huge help, and met the Alchemy guys that did Job Sim,
Sure.
and they were they they fell in love with VR like I did too. So
Yeah.
they were one of the early adopters of that.
So then Dino Frontier comes out. How does that do?
I think it did well because I had left Uber Entertainment by the time right after it came out.
Gotcha.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it did pretty well.
Did you steal everybody from them then? Did you steal everybody from Uber to come to Outer Loop?
There's 3 of us, 4 of us left. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, that's how you do it.
You know anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Taking some people, spinning off, doing your own thing. You kidding me?
You can't stop people from leaving. If they're not happy, they're not happy.
That's right, Barrett.
Want to go to a new place? It's their, it's their choice.
Sure.
So.
Was your story similar to ours? Of like you enjoyed it there, but you wanted to go make your own things and not have a boss.
I'm old now, and I was like,
sure,
it's time to do my own thing. I have kids. I work out of my house.
Yeah, but all that, everything you just said, I think makes it actually more terrifying, right? I feel like that's when you don't make those moves. For us, when we did Kind of Funny, we all looked at each other and it's like, well, nobody's got kids.
Yeah.
Only Nick's married, whatever. You can do this and not have anything to risk.
I spent a year talking to other indie, like my friends, like Campo Santo and Clay and those guys, and like Supergiant, like Amir and those guys. People. Yeah. So I was like, tell me what went wrong and how can I try do something different. And every studio, every business is different. So it's like I learned a lot in the last, we've been in business for 2 years now. So it's,
So
figuring it out.
Talk to me about this then. You go and you start the studio. You start working on Falcon Age right away?
Yeah, so I had put together a prototype.
Okay.
Before we started and trying to pitching around and figuring that out.
Yeah.
You need money.
Yeah, and that's my thing is like that's I for as much as I talk about video games and stuff, I don't know what it's like to leave, start a studio, and then not ship anything for 2 years. That sounds crazy, right?
So,
in terms of like the gun to your head, watching your bank account being petrified.
Yeah, like Chet, who just announced his new studio, writer of Valve and Left 4 Dead and those guys. Yeah. So they announced and they have funding, right? So they have VC backed funding. So your options are as a studio, it's like get someone to fund a studio, get someone to fund the game, or your last game did well and
live off your savings.
I guess. Yeah.
What did you do?
Project funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, was there an idea of? And granted, I mean, you can play Falcon Age both ways.
Yes.
But did you think at any point like VR has a ceiling?
Right.
Like I need, if I'm doing this and it's my own company, all these different things, there is no safety net here.
Right.
I need to make it more mainstream.
Yes, for sure. I didn't know what like 2 years ago, I was like, what is the, market going to be like now?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is what was your read on the market 2 years ago, right? I mean, that's what a little over a year you were a launch title for PlayStation VR.
Yeah,
you see that you're getting ready to put out Dino.
Yeah.
But even then, right? Like I always talk about this, that I think PlayStation did such a great job of, hey, hardcore PlayStation game fans, this is a device we're putting out that we believe in, but it's not going to be amazing at first, and we're going to have to grow with it and learn with it, and like if you're getting on board, you're signing up for that.
Yeah,
and I feel like people did, and we're like, okay, cool, they weren't mad about it.
Right.
But it was that conversation that was weird for a while, where even Andrew House was like, I said, don't put out 1 million units. We won't sell them, and we did, and now we don't have enough, and I look like a fool. But hey, it's cool, it's doing well. But even then, it's still not a runaway success, especially compared to the PlayStation 4.
Right. So it's certainly slower than people. Like, you had all these sort of venture capitalists jump in and throw money around, and they're all gone. Now they're moved on to AR or whatever. Like
who can make me a Pokemon Go?
Right. So I think that's good. That's good for the industry. Like it's like
because it gets back to artists.
Yeah, and the expectations were too much, right? It was way bigger than anyone thought, it could be. So
well, they all thought Gary the Gull was really going to clean up.
Right.
Gary the Gull, I'm going to put it out. The kids love playing movies, right? They'll watch the movie, they'll be in the movie now.
Right. I mean, like I've been making VR stuff for 3 years, and I still sometimes would rather not play a VR game instead.
Oh, of course,
right?
of course, yeah.
Unless it's
as much as I
Saber.
love it, right? I go in big stints of not playing it and then letting games build up and then busting out a bunch.
Yeah, because just cables and putting the headset on and all this stuff. So there's still, like I'll play Beat Saber, right?
Sure, hell yeah, you will.
Awesome.
You got taste. Come on.
Yeah. So what were we talking about? Oh, starting studio. Yeah. So you can get funding from all sorts of ways. So we started pitching around, and that's how we got. That's always,
Did you? I mean, for you, was there a conversation internally at least, or even with your team of let's not do VR?
We were. Yes, certainly. We started prototyping ideas, and I think I might have told you this, but there's this clip on YouTube of a golden eagle attacking a mountain goat.
I don't know if I've heard this one.
You Google that and you'll find it.
Okay.
And golden eagles are huge.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And they would pick up a goat and try to
run away
kill
with
it,
or fly
and
away
then
with
it drops it on a mountain, kills it, and eats it.
All right.
And I was like, I should look into this falconry thing. And
this sounds fascinating. I need to know more about these golden eagles.
Yeah. So I looked into that, and there's a bunch of falconers in Washington State where I live. didn't know it was a big thing. So we did a bunch of research. We did a prototype. We used Unity. There's like Unreal, Unity, a lot of game devs use, and just downloaded some crappy assets and made a just super simple prototype. And we had the bird flying around. First time you whistled for it, that's how you in the game. You put your hand close to your mouth and pull the trigger, and it makes a whistle sound, and the bird shows up. That scale change was like super compelling, even at like rough, crappy, no animation prototype. Sure. So that's how we started with
Gotcha. And you're like, this has to be VR. We have to do
VR. Yeah. And then I put together a prototype, and it was really crappy looking, but the like a 5-minute experience of what it could be was interesting. And as we started developing it, I end up laying out levels in non-VR. Yeah. So we already had the tools to do that.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, this could be interesting in non-VR too, because it's still compelling. So.
And that's what was fascinating about doing the demo. I did the demo at Dice with you. Mm-hmm. And playing it in VR, that's where I start, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing the whistle, and for sure, the Falcon's up there. I've had it attacking things, and it comes down and lands on my arm, and it is that like, it's similar. It's not the exact same, but it's similar to the feeling of Kratos' axe in God of War, right?
Oh,
where
man.
you did that, and it comes back to you that first time, you're like, that felt so good,
right?
And so to have your Falcon come in and land, and you're like, this is awesome, and you're feeding it the crackers or putting its hats on and doing all these little different things, different experiences, but you understand where I'm driving it. But then when you had it switched over, and I played it. Outside of that, I was blown away by, and I'm not talking crap about PlayStation VR, but like how sharper it was, like graphically, how much the colors pop more, and how it didn't feel or look like it didn't feel like a different game, but it definitely looked like a different game in a way. Yes. And it was that idea of like, wow, now I'm actually torn of, do I want because the game, I really like the game. I've said that before. I told you in the hotel room, right? It's rare that I like. Oh yeah, I should have said this a long time ago. Sorry, Jen and Papa Jenda worked with them. Now this is one of the ones I don't truly count because you were on the game showcase, and that's when Jen saw it and was like, I want to work with that game.
Yeah. I work with you before I work with her.
Exactly. So I'm not totally doing it. I just want to make sure, but I got to be ethically. But I said the thing, right? And I've talked about it on Gamescast since then. I'm like, man, I usually am not into Jen's games. Like, Papa Jenda works on so many different indies that I respect and like, but like Messenger, not my kind of game. Respect it, get it, think it's quality, but not what I want. So like this one of like, I'm going to platinum this. Like I'm going to play the hell out of this because you said it's a good platinum too.
Yes.
Don't screw me on the platinum.
It's not a hard platinum.
Okay, good. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But I even playing it, I was like, oh man, I had a real debate of like, what am I going to play it on? Like, how am I going to play this experience if there's going to be PlayStation VR?
You can do both, depending on your mood.
Sure. Yeah.
You can take
switch on, switch off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
Mm-hmm.
Is PlayStation still as good to work with on this one as they were with the other ones?
Yes. So they
keep in mind the game's out by the time this publishes. Right. So if they were garbage, you can tell it now. Who cares?
They're supporting the platform.
Yeah.
Which is the first sign of like, okay, I should support the platform because the platform holders are supporting the platform.
Yeah. So is that different than what you've seen with other VR platforms? And again, not asking you to talk shit.
Yeah, like it's weird because Oculus, they support theirs, and Vive, like it was Valve and Steam, and now it's Vive, so it's like there's a separation there. I think so. I mean, Oculus certainly is. What do they call Oculus Gaming now instead of?
Yeah, they have their own Oculus Gaming. They do the Oculus. Oh man, I was reaching for. I just used it last night.
Quest.
Oculus Quest.
Which is, by the way,
dude.
So tell me,
dude. What, yes. I mean, I. By the time this goes out, it'll be an old story, hopefully, Greg. But it was like, I feel like, Colin, when we first did PlayStation VR, or actually when he first used Eve, that thing, right? And he talked about it being a religious experience. And everybody talks about that, I think.
Right.
With that, there's religious experiences with it. For me, it was, I talk about all the time with like. Blood in the Sand, right? The PlayStation VR title they're working on now. When I naturally grabbed the grenade and threw it back, and I was like, whoa, that was awesome and shit like that. Like, in the same way of my tired stories about video games, that last night is going to be one for Quest, because it was that I came in super late. Yeah, it's a PR colleague that I've worked with my entire career. They were trying to set some stuff up because they were pitching me around Beat Saber because I'm a big Beat Saber guy.
Yeah.
We had been trying to work out exclusives of like, maybe we'll premiere the song list, maybe we'll do this. None of it worked out. Yeah. But it was like, all right, since you're not going to get to play, you have to come to the event. Because I probably would have blown off the event.
So you played Beat Saber?
Yeah. So
on the Quest?
I got there last night.
Man, that's cool.
And it was like immediately like, oh man, there's only 30 minutes. They're like kicking us out. Come on up. Here's the Beat Saber team. Hey, Beat Saber team. Oh, great. Here's the headset. Put it on. They handed me the controllers. And the first thing, I started it, right? And the sound started playing. And I was like, where is it coming from?
I love the headset speakers.
Yeah,
on those things.
The speakers are in the band, so there's nothing like, even with the new PlayStation VR, right, where like they have the ones that fold down or whatever. Like it wasn't that; it's in the band and it's projected directly
right into your ear. Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Played Beat Saber, and again, I'm not talking shit on PlayStation VR, but like, played Beat Saber, and every so often with PlayStation VR with the move wands, like, and I think it's my setup or whatever, but like my left hand will like get out of frame or go too far and wig out a second, and usually it doesn't screw me up, but I definitely see the lightsaber turning in different directions.
Yeah.
I'm all over the room with Quest last night, doing everything, boom, and it's still exactly what I've always said why I like Oculus so much, is it is one for one. Mm-hmm. It's not confused. It's nailing it.
Right.
And I'm doing it, and as soon as it ended, the PR friend is like, okay, you want to do another song? And I'm like, no, you need to talk to me about this. And I took it off and like, what do you mean? Like, I looked around the room like, and I must seem like such a console idiot. I'm like, where are the cameras?
Oh, you didn't know?
And they're like, no, the cameras are in the thing. There's no cameras. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then I did the other thing. I looked around, I'm like, where's the PC?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, like, it's the headset and the wand. And I was like,
oh, so you had no idea.
I'm like, I need to talk to someone to talk now about the hardware.
Right.
I don't understand what is going on.
Yeah, the cameras, there's 4 cameras on the front of the headset, and it throws out a pretty big range.
Yeah.
So you can go back here, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was the thing, is I was all over it, and it felt, it was funny to go from that to then back downstairs to play a couple other games and have the cable and the cord, and it was like, and it's like, there is that turnoff to VR in general, whether it be PlayStation VR or be anything else, it just doesn't feel natural, right?
Yeah.
Last night Quest felt so natural.
And you can just go, here, try it.
Exactly.
Right? And that's really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it was such a big deal when we got PlayStation VR. I brought my mom visited right around then, and we did Let's Plays with her, and seeing her react to it, right?
Oh, I watched some of those. Yeah,
the idea that like, and like even Rami, right, from Vlambeer, he just tweeted about like, hey, I couldn't be away from Beat Saber, so I'd already brought my PlayStation 4. I bought another PlayStation VR headset. If anybody wants to buy it when I leave San Francisco, let me know.
Yeah.
Like the idea now of like, this is the same thing I was talking about. Like I was doing Beat Saber from launch through the beginning of January every morning.
Yeah.
Like I was doing it as a workout thing and just also to wake up and be active.
Yeah.
And then I went on vacation, right? And I didn't want to bring all the junk, so I didn't bring any of it. Totally broke my rhythm, and I haven't gotten back to it. And now we're filming this in March, right?
If you had a Quest.
Totally. Like this thing, now you have no excuse, and it's probably even a better experience than that way of just being able to walk into any room, anywhere, put it on and go and do it. It's like, I was floored last night and still am. I woke up thinking about how cool that was and how great that felt. And, I was surprised too. I'm going to talk about it on Gamescast this week, but so many people responded to my glowing praise of it with, well, like, how does it compare? Like, are the graphics garbage? And da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I'm coming in there sight unseen, putting it on, not understanding what technology is being strapped to my face.
Yeah.
I still thought it looked better than PlayStation VR when I used it. I don't think PlayStation VR Beat Saber looks bad.
Yeah.
I just felt like it looked sharper and brighter. Like I didn't have the screen door effect that I have with PlayStation VR.
Right.
I'm clearly so not a technophile in that way that like I didn't even realize it wasn't the regular Oculus, but like my regular Oculus experience is like, okay, I use it for an Amazon stream, or I use it for a demo, and even going downstairs I played a different game that I don't think is up to the caliber or polish of it, and it looked worse on a regular Oculus than it did on there, but that's again that's not apples to oranges, right?
But exactly. the experience is right for that device.
The experience is great, and I can't, and I it was one of those things like I'm in. Like $400 for that, to have that ready, like I hope there's more games for it and all these different things, but like that was perfect and awesome.
There'll be more games for it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And so are you still seeing that in your developer friends? Is there still excitement about VR?
Yes, it's died down, I think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, jumped in. Like, for me, it's also an interesting transition, too, because I mostly done a lot of art in the past and a little bit of design, and Wayward was like my first game where like concept and directing it. Sure. So it was a good opportunity to jump on. And try something different too. So
but this is back to the because this is the thing. I feel like I personally like that the VC's gone and it's not everyone trying to cram VR into their games. Now it is very much that you have a vision and you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, especially covering PlayStation full time for 12 years, I've seen them abandon stuff, right? Like when the Move launched and nobody cared, and it was like the game where you were sliding down the chair. Remember this stupid thing?
Yeah,
you
I remember
slide
that.
in an office chair, like using Move. Like, what is this garbage?
I think Sony was playing the long game, man. The moves are back.
Yeah, well, okay, sure. I'm exactly what that is. But it was that concern of, okay, cool, I understand how they're pitching us PlayStation VR, but if it doesn't hit numbers, are they going to abandon it?
Right.
And the fact that they haven't, and they are still making games, and I think now we're seeing like a real swing. I think Moss was the one that kicked it off of like, guess what? Now they're full-fledged games, and you're going to get Moss, and you're going to get Astrobot, and you're going to get Beat Saber, and you're going to get Falcon Age. Like, there are these games that are coming out, and maybe you're not getting as many as people thought you'd get or want you to get, but you're getting more quality for sure than quantity.
I mean, you just need one Beat Saber, right? Like, that's compelling, right?
Totally.
Like
and that's the thing is, I think that is where this thing thrives. It's just I'm always worried about when you do get corporate interests involved, when you do have to worry about a board of directors and chairs, what is the level of success it needs to maintain before somebody does cut it off?
That is a great question because I have no idea.
Exactly, right? And I hope that you see, with PlayStation VR in particular, it continue because there are cool people doing cool things for it, right? And even with Oculus, obviously, cool people doing cool things with it, and them continue to iterate on the hardware. Because I don't mind PlayStation VR, Oculus, Gen 1, whatever, all these things being guinea pigs as long as they continue to get iterated on.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it. I don't want to ever look back at this and have it be a case of who killed the electric car.
Right.
Where it was like we were on the right track and then everybody got involved and killed it, and now, Tesla's kickstarting it again and getting where it needs to be.
And the Quest is a good evolution, right?
Right? Yeah. And that's what gets me hyped for what could happen with the PlayStation VR 2. And like as of this, I know I had seen a rumor over the weekend that somebody had dug up a patent for a wireless PlayStation VR headset. And when you start getting there, that starts getting super exciting. And
I have zero knowledge of whatever they're doing.
Oh, no, I was trying to pin you down at all. Give me the answers. And you're like, I just got a game about a bird. That's all I know. But no, like what does PlayStation 5 mean for PlayStation VR, right? And like what does that headset look like? Hopefully they do at the same time. But
I hope there's a headset online, when it launches with it. Be sweet.
Yeah, exactly. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So is your next game going to be a VR game?
I don't know.
Are you in it for the win? Well, don't tell me you don't know. You got ideas. You got to keep going.
But this is we just launched this, so it's,
Yeah.
It's fresh.
For you in this one, and I don't know the answer to this, are you guys planning DLC, or is this like hey, the game is out and this is our vision and this is the game?
No, there's a lot of content we want to do with it, so we'll see how it goes.
Is that based on how
reception?
Yeah, reception.
What people want out of it. So one of the first things we showed this at PAX last year.
Yeah.
For the first time, and people ended up playing with a baby bird for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So because of that, we made that as a second game mode.
Oh, really?
So there's a story game mode where you just play through in combat, and then we have an imprint mode where we turn off the enemies from seeing you.
Okay.
So you can just play through and go hunt, to go make crafts and falcon snacks and things.
Sure.
And you can engage with them, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a lot of people that played through that looked like they never held a DualShock or played VR before.
Yeah, totally.
They just wanted to mess with the bird. So I was like, okay.
Have you been surprised by the reaction? Because again, even before you did showcase stuff, even before you worked with Papa Agenda, even before the game launched or anything, I remember seeing GIFs. I remember seeing the bird.
Then I'm doing my job right.
Yeah, totally. Like the bird, I think is the breakout star.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to see people glom onto that and that become a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was not into bird meme culture at all, and then I have a ton of bird people following me now on Twitter.
Oh wow, look at you. Okay, all right. Yeah, you're gonna break down some walls. Get some more bird people in the gaming.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Very surprised. You never know. Like you work on a thing that you like, and you hope other people like it.
Yeah.
And you never know. So
okay.
So far so good.
Good. Eka, I like what I played of Falcon Age.
Good.
I assume we're talking about it in this episode I'm inserting, so hopefully I liked it there. Because the demo, it was impressive and I enjoyed myself.
It'd be really awkward.
The whole thing sucks. That's going to be rough.
Awkward.
That's going to be a really rough one for you.
Yeah.
But again, I guess it could be awkward for you, not for me. Because again, I'm just going to tell them what I think of the game. But you keep making VR games, so it's like you're doing it. You're out there trying. You know what I mean? Nobody else is. You're doing the thing you need to do.
Yeah, we enjoyed platform, and I think design-wise, there's interesting challenges still. So
yeah. What are you running into challenge-wise?
Well, I mean, this game was about how do we do both, and it's not just two; it's like 5 different versions of controls and characters and animation and things like that.
Yeah,
because you could do PlayStation VR Move, PlayStation VR with DualShock, no PlayStation VR on DualShock.
Yeah.
So 6-axis. Do they even call it 6-axis anymore?
No, gyroscopes. I think they moved away from that when that was a huge failure and everybody hated it.
We support it. So
it's still no. This is the name. The name. People still do that. Yeah, they still call it
non-VR. If you want to do the head bob, you do. You
got to rotate it around. Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah. So I mean, that's challenging, and then trying to do exploration in VR. It's our first person game in VR, so it's like, what can you see? Where's the bird?
Yeah.
You play Journey, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So in Journey, if there's another player, there's like a little glowing sort of effect around the screen.
Sure.
So we do that with the bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we did play test and people were like, "Where's the bird?
The bird? Can't find it.
Is she hurt? Is she okay?"
Yeah.
So
that's the worst part about this game when the bird comes down. It's got all these pins in it. I'm like, oh, you're a monster. Why would you make me do this to this poor bird?
Because it makes you feel.
It does.
I want to make you feel.
If this bird dies at the end of the game, man.
I hope not.
Don't.
I haven't played all the way through yet.
Oh. So I outsourced the ending. I'm not sure exactly where it goes. Before I let you go, what's the one thing you think the PlayStation VR audience doesn't know that you wish they knew about the experience, games, whatever?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I feel like I've said this before and I'm not just blowing smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like PlayStation VR community reminds me so much of when we started Podcast Beyond, when it was me, Dunham, and Roper, and Jeff. Yeah. And it was like, the PlayStation 3 was this thing that if you were using it, you were using it because you really liked those kind of games.
Yeah.
It was just getting trounced by Xbox's sales and all these things.
Right.
So the audience was so tight knit and good, right? And I feel like when I go to the subreddit for PlayStation VR, the PSVR subreddit, developers come in there and they're talking to the audience, they're giving them free codes. The kids there are celebrating other kids buying it and coming in.
Yeah, so I've loved that subreddit.
Yeah, it's great.
Since
right?
Wavered, they're like, they know us now.
Yeah.
Since Dino, and they know like, oh, Falcons from the same guys.
Yeah.
And then so I recently, or months ago, I posted.
Whatever the time loop that this is.
I posted a video because I would really want to know the thing that PlayStation VR audience really want is options for controls. So I posted like a clip of our option screen.
Yeah.
Like, here's what we're doing. What do you think? And I got a lot of feedback on that, and we adjusted it for that. So, like I said, some people want just FPS controls and don't want snap turns and don't want the blinking. So
Sure.
we give you all those options. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Well, Eka.
Yeah.
This isn't a time warp. The game's out. I hope it's a huge success.
I hope it's good. I just want to make another one.
Are you at that point where the game you can't tell if it's good or not?
I can never tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's like, does Twitter likes turn into sales? I have no idea.
That's a great question. Yeah, you're about to find out. If Outer Loop Games is still around, you know that they do.
We'll
and
be
if they
around.
don't,
We'll be around.
yeah. Okay, good. Okay, great. Well, thank you for coming by.
Yeah, man.
Let's go back to the PlayStation VR show, answer some of your questions.
Awesome.
Maybe. I think that's what I do on this show.
Okay.
Again, I told you earlier, I think that's the setup of the show, but by the time we get there, who knows?
And my hair might not be red by then, so we'll see.
Sure. Well, what I'll do is when we film that part and this is getting ready, I'm going to ask you for a photo of yours, and you can tell me if your hair is out.
All right.
Whoever's editing this, remind me to ask that in the future.
Yeah, all right.
Well, Kevin, I think that about sums it up for Trover Saves the Universe. You recommend it?
Oh yeah, I recommend it if you like this type of humor.
Yeah.
If you like Rick and Morty, if you think that's real funny stuff, you're gonna enjoy this game. It's very good. I really like that humor.
I do too.
think this
That's my
game
thing.
is fantastic.
And again, I love, how I love watching developers progress. Again, like I said earlier, it's really cool to compare this to Accounting Plus.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, like this is a real game, in quotes, right? You're moving along that way. And again, I enjoyed the gameplay out of it. I think you do need to play it in PlayStation VR. Not at all trying to discredit Barrett not like vibing with it.
I
think
am
that
trying to discredit
there's
him.
a lot of people who are going to turn it on and be like, I don't vibe with this humor. I don't understand what's going on. But even when he pulls out the Power Baby and makes the new Power Baby eat
Every
the Power
single
Baby.
time, I'm always like, this is hilarious.
And he's always so excited about it.
And he always says something like a little different, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, this never gets old. Look at him just eat the other one. It's just, yeah.
Kevin, what do you say for PlayStation VR Season 2, Episode 3? We do Astrobot Rescue Mission finally.
Ooh.
Right? Because that's
I like
a game.
that a lot.
That's a game.
That's
it'll
a game.
Then it's going to also be able to compare and contrast, obviously, that this is good, but this is this is what a game built just for those mechanics is like.
Right.
All right.
Okay, I'm excited. That's really cool. I've been meaning to get back to it.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your homework for the PlayStation VR show. Episode 3 next week, Astrobot Rescue Mission. Get out there and play it. Remember, of course, PlayStation VR was provided to us by PlayStation for review purposes. Lay off us, FTC. Let us know about what you think. What?
I bought mine.
Oh, Kevin bought his like a sucker. You know what I'm saying, Barry? What an idiot. Let me know what you think of Trover Saves the Universe. Comments below. We'll edit that cough. Edit that cough out. Yeah.
No, leave the cough in.
I don't give a shit.
Amplify it. Put it in a couple more times.
Cool guy, play it on a loop. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.